Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the Online Space Selection Essentials webinar today. This is the third webinar in our education series that is designed to help set you up for success at the Baking Expo in September 2022. My name is Jen Welby and I am IBIE's Trade Show Coordinator. I am going to go over what you need to know for space selection coming up in the next few weeks. Before we get started, please take a moment to familiarize yourself with the GoToWebinar dashboard. On this slide, it shows a list of the available widgets to you. I would like to remind everyone that all attendees are muted, and if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them into the question box on your screen. Any troubleshooting comments can be shared in the chat widget, and someone from the IBIE team will get back to you. This webinar is recorded and will be posted on bakingexpo.com under For Exhibitors and then Exhibitor Resources and Webinars. Today we will go over the space selection email that went out last week, IBIE space at the Las Vegas Convention Center, how to navigate the floor plan, what you should do to prepare for your space selection day and time, and what to expect when it is your turn to select your booth space. We will also review a couple rules and regulations to know when selecting your booth space, and then we'll finish with reviewing important dates and a live Q&A. Let's get started. So on June 14th, companies eligible for round one space selection received an email from exhibits@bakingexpo.com with your company's call-in date and time. If your company is one of the top 30 companies with the highest priority points, your email came in the form of a calendar invitation. Please accept the calendar invite as your form of RSVPing. If you are not in the top 30 highest priority points, your company received an email with your call-in date and time. On that email, there is a link to submit your intent to participate. Please fill out your intent to participate so that we can confirm that you received our email. We ask that you RSVP using that link by June 30th. Space selection for these exhibitors takes place July 13th, 14th, and 15th. As a reminder, all space selection call-in times are in Central Time. If you did not receive your call-in date and time email, please reach out to exhibits@bakingexpo.com and we will resend the information. IBIE will be in the North and brand new West Hall in 2022. These halls are connected by a sky bridge over Paradise Road. Starting with the West Hall, taxi pickup and drop-off will be here at the front of the hall. Uber and Lyft services will be at the back of the West Hall in the Diamond Lot, and the Diamond Lot will be one of IBIE's parking lots. Right here is the official shuttle drop-off, and that will be outside of the West Hall as well. The number 3 shown here shows the access where attendees can get to the new underground Las Vegas Convention Center loop, where they will be transported to the North Hall in a Tesla. The West Hall lobby will have the ABA and BIMA booth, the food court, and 4 entrances to the West Hall. The second floor of the West Hall will have registration as well as meeting rooms for the corporate meeting program. IBI Educate sessions will take place on the 3rd floor of the West Hall. To get over to the North Hall, you can access the sky bridge from the 2nd floor of the West Hall. Once you walk across the sky bridge, you'll find yourself on the 2nd floor of the North Hall, where additional education and hands-on sessions will be held. Attendees will proceed down a set of escalators and elevators and will access the North Hall from one of our 4 entrances. Taxi pickup and drop-off will be here on Convention Center Drive at the front of the building. Uber and Lyft services will be in the Silver Lot here. At this time, there is no official IBIE shuttle pickup and drop-off planned at the North Hall, but that could change. The black number 2 on the map right here shows the location where attendees and exhibitors can access the Las Vegas Convention Center loop from the North Hall. IBIE gave a detailed overview of both the West and North Halls in a webinar last month titled Las Vegas Convention Center Overview. Check out that webinar for the information on entrances, drop-offs, and key features in a little bit more detail. You can view that webinar under For Exhibitors and then Exhibitor Resources and Webinars on the Baking Expo website. So to get to the floor plan, go to bakingexpo.com. And then at the top here under For Exhibitors, you're going to click on Floor Plan. There's also a link to the floor plan in the email that we sent on June 14th. So when you open the floor plan, it shows both the West and the North Hall on the screen. Here you can show the building key and how the two halls are oriented. The West Hall is oriented a little bit different than it shows right here, and it's actually on an angle from the North Hall. For the way that attendees will walk into the hall and through the aisles, it makes sense to orient it like this for space selection. If you know you want to be in the North or West Hall and you only want to focus on that floor plan, you can click on Maps here at the top and then select the hall that you would like to be in so that you only see that view. You can get back to seeing both floor plans by going back to Maps and Main Map. Each hall has multiple show features on the floor plan. The West Hall has the Sanitation Pavilion, the International Lounge, and the Artisan Marketplace. The North Hall has the Retail Bakers of America booth, the RBA Baker Center, the Great American Pie Festival, and the Tiptree World Bread Awards competition areas. The Business of Cannabis Pavilion will also be in the North Hall. The red lines, if I zoom in here a little bit, the red lines are 20-foot wide aisles that booths cannot cross over. The blue lines are 10-foot wide aisles that booths also cannot cross over. So we can combine 10 by 10 spaces to get you your desired booth space. For example, if you want a 50 by 50 booth space, we would combine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this whole area right here would become your 50 by 50 booth. And then we would just delete these booths so that you're an island open on all four sides, similar to how the International Trade Center is set up right now. If you would like a 30 by 20 booth, we can combine 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, so that this space right here is your 30 by 20. And then we would just remove any booths around you so that you're an island open on all four sides. Utility ports are not shown on this floor plan, but if you want to know where the utility hookups would be in your booth, just reach out to exhibits@bakingexpo.com and we can send that over to you. Prior to space selection, be sure to check out the priority point document on the website under For Exhibitors and then priority point policy. This is where you can see the full list of priority points in company order. A couple things to do before your space selection in order to create a smooth and time-efficient process. Please be sure to practice navigating the floor plan ahead of time. Become familiar with the type of booth you are looking for, like an inline, a peninsula, or an island, and understand that you can combine different booths to achieve that booth type. The floor plan link is always live and reflects the space that has been selected to date. Space selection will begin on June 28th, and the floor plan will constantly be changing following this date as companies select their booth space. Please be sure to check availability of booths the day before, hour before, and especially a few minutes prior to your call-in time to ensure you have a list of booths in mind that will work for your company. Companies are selecting space every 5 minutes. Therefore, even if a booth looks open when you first join the Zoom, there's a chance that it could have just been assigned. So be sure to have a list of your top 3 choices when you join. The blue spaces are available to select and the tan spaces are already reserved. After you select your booth space, it is important to keep an eye on the floor plan to ensure that you still like your space as booths develop around you. IBIE will not notify you if a competitor chooses a booth space near you. If you're unhappy with your booth location, whether it's during space selection or in the weeks to follow, we're always happy to move you to a different location based on availability. On your designated date and time, click on the Zoom link that was sent in your space selection email. You will automatically be put into a waiting room until IBIE show management is able to assist you in selecting a booth space. Once we bring you into the Zoom room, we will connect you with one of our sales managers, Stuart or Nicole, who can share their screen to discuss the floor plan, available spots, and chat through any questions that you have about the space. Once you select your booth space, our show management team will rent it on the floor plan in real time. It only takes a few seconds to update, so you can refresh the page and see your name on the floor plan right then and there. To view the full PDF of IBIE's rules and regulations, go to bakingexpo.com. And then under For Exhibitors, Exhibitor Resources and Webinars. And then there's a link to the PDF rules and regulations. I also want to point out right here that this is where you can find the priority point policy and list of priority points. So let's take a moment to review the 4 types of booths that are offered at IBIE, which is an island, split island, peninsula, and inline booths. So let's start with islands. Islands and split islands can build up to 20 feet tall in all areas of their booth and can have a hanging sign that hangs from 20 feet from the floor to the top of the sign. Islands are open on all 4 sides, and split islands back up to another split island booth, so they're open on 3 sides. If you have an island or split island booth, you will be required to submit a booth drawing with dimensions to IBIE show management for review and approval by June 13th, 2022. As a reminder, island booths are created on the floor plan by combining multiple 10 by 10 booths. The Las Vegas Convention Center requires that for all booths 50 feet wide or greater, the travel distance within the exhibit booth or exhibit enclosure to an exit access aisle shall not exceed 50 feet. So what that means is if your booth has a side that's greater than 50 feet long, you cannot have 3 solid walls around your booth. You must have at least 2 ways to exit the booth. So the reason why the diagram on the left would not be approved is because it only has 1 way to exit the booth here, and then the other sides are solid walls or machinery. The diagram on the right is acceptable because there are multiple ways to exit the booth, and there's only 1 solid wall. Here's another example. So on the left, the booth has 3 solid walls and only 1 way to exit, which would not be approved. And then on the right, it has 2 solid walls only and multiple ways to exit the booth. So this would be approved. A double-decker or multi-story exhibit is a booth where the display fixture includes 2 or more levels. Multi-story exhibits require approval and building permits from the Las Vegas Convention Center and the Fire Marshal. Exhibitors should obtain permits early on to ensure that all time constraints are met. Show management will also need to review your booth space by June 13th, 2022. Peninsula booths are 20 feet by 20 feet booths that have inline booths behind it. Hanging signs are permitted in Peninsula booths up to 20 feet from the floor to the top of the sign. It is important to note that when a Peninsula booth backs up to inline booths, the back wall is restricted to 4 feet high within 5 feet of each aisle. So that allows for adequate sight lines behind for the adjoining booths. If you have a Peninsula booth, you will also be required to submit a booth drawing to show management for review and approval by June 13th, 2022. Inline booths are 10 feet deep and multiple can be combined to create a line of booths. So you can have a 10 by 10 booth, a 10 by 20, a 10 by 50, and so on. It's important to be aware of the sight lines for neighboring booths if you have an inline. So the maximum height in the back of a booth is 8 feet. And then in the front half of your booth, the maximum height is 4 feet. Hanging signs are not permitted in inline booths. So just to reiterate one more time, space selection for the top 30 companies with the highest priority points will take place on June 28th and 29th. The remaining member exhibitors who submitted a contract by May 17th will participate in space selection July 13th, 14th, and 15th. Additional members who did not submit their contract by May 17th and non-member exhibitors who exhibited in 2019 will select their booth space October 12th through the 14th in round 2 of space selection. After round 2 space selection, space will be assigned on a first come, first served basis as exhibitors submit contracts. All right, Ingrid, let's get into the Q&A. Did we have any questions come through during the presentation?
Yes, we did. So our first question, can this link be shared with others in my organization, or does IBIE need to send the link to others in my organization?
Everyone can share the same link, so anyone who wants to participate in selecting your booth space can use that same link, and then we will just allow all personnel from your company into the Zoom room at once. So feel free to pass it around.
Okay, the next question. I no longer see the underground utilities shown on the map. It might be important information for some of us during space selection.
Absolutely, and during space selection, we can share that information. It's just not on the public side of the floor plan. So we do have that information and we can absolutely send it over to you ahead of time as well. So please shoot us an email at exhibits@bakingexpo.com so we can share that information with you.
Okay, next question. To confirm, the Sky Bridge is not accessible within the halls themselves. An attendee would need to exit the hall they are in, take an escalator, stairs, elevator to the second floor, walk across the Sky Bridge, take another escalator, stairs, elevator to the first floor, and then enter the other hall, correct?
Yes, that is correct. It is on the second floor of both halls.
Okay, next question. Do you know the names of the exhibitors having chosen a booth, or does the real-time map only show unavailable?
You will be able to see who has selected space ahead of you, and their name will also be on the floor plan. So you'll be able to see where each company has gone that selected space before you.
Okay, the next question. I received the please read IBIE 2022 space selection call-in assignment email from exhibits@bakingexpo.com and submitted my intent to participate in the online space selection. Should I have received a confirmation email that our RSVP via the online form was received by the IBIE exhibits team?
You do not receive a confirmation email, but we will be following up with all exhibitors who did not RSVP. So we got your RSVP, we get a notification when you do RSVP and we mark you down. We'll be following up with exhibitors who did not RSVP, but just know that we received your RSVP and you're able to join the Zoom link at your designated date and time.
Okay, next question. I filled out a reservation form. Well, oh, that's the same. Same question. Please remind me of the Peninsula booth specs minimum size.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back here. So on the sides of a Peninsula, you can only go up to 4 feet tall within 5 feet on both sides. So that means that you cannot have a tall wall all the way across the back of your booth. You can do that, however, with a split island. This wall goes all the way across as long as you have another island booth behind you. So if you have inline booths behind you, you're considered a Peninsula. But if you have a large 20 by 20 booth behind you, you're considered a split island and can go up to 20 feet in all areas.
Jen, the next question is, can we have a hanging sign on a Peninsula booth?
Yes, you can. You can have a hanging sign in a Peninsula booth up to 20 feet tall.
Okay. Next question, what if after we select a competitor is near us, can we relocate?
You can absolutely relocate. So feel free to reach out to us at any time, just at the email on the screen, and we can move your booth location.
Is there a list of exhibitors that will be called on 6/28 in order of priority points?
If you go to that priority point document that is online on bakingexpo.com under for exhibitors, you will be able to see the list in order, so you can see on that list who the top 30 companies are.
Great, thank you. What dimensions does your booth need to be to get an island?
It has to be at least 20 by 20.
Thank you. Are there country-specific pavilions or sections? We normally book our own, but being from Canada, wondering if there is a Canada section.
We do not currently have a Canadian pavilion on the show floor, so you are welcome to select any booth space that you would like.
Next question. What is the difference between the two halls? Does the focus or type of exhibitor differ?
We do not force any exhibitors into one hall over the other, so it is totally up to you as the exhibitor to select which hall you would like to be in. There's no designated rules from IBIE.
Okay, thank you. Next question. What are the advantages of the new West Hall? I can imagine it's going to be the best seller area.
I don't know about advantages of one hall over the other. It is brand new, and the Tesla loop is also brand new, which will be great to use in between the halls. But I think advantages is kind of relative. Then we don't have any like set advantages of one hall over the other.
Okay, thank you. Where are the loading docks and how many heavy-duty forklifts, forklifts would be available for heavy equipment?
So forklift labor will have to be ordered through Freeman, who will make sure that they have adequate labor to move in all of our exhibitors. And then as far as loading docks, I will have to get back to you. I can send, Ingrid, if you can just share this contact information, I can share a floor plan with them that will show the loading docks.
Okay, and it's for the West Hall. The loading docks for the West Hall is towards the back.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
Let's see if I can pull it up here. All right, Ingrid, if you want to help me point these out.
Yep, so along this horizontal back wall, those are where the loading docks are.
Yeah. So like right here would be loading docks.
Yes.
Great. Yep.
All right, next question. Is a 20 by 20 island higher price than a 20 by 20 peninsula?
No, it is not. We do not charge aisle or corner fees, so it would be the same price. We only charge you per square foot.
Okay, thank you. And in addition to that answer, the price difference for IBIE is member versus non-member.
Yes.
Next question, which hall is bigger and will hold more booths?
Ingrid, do you know the answer to that off the top of your head?
I'm assuming they're referring to the west versus north. I'm not sure exactly what that question means. If the question is related to west versus central, that what we've done before in the past for IBIE, west is very comparable to central halls that we've used before in the past. But this person who submitted the question, if you want to send us a more detailed email at exhibits at bakingexpo.com. We would be more than happy to get back with you on that. Next question. I missed the first few minutes of the meeting. Where can I find a doc to select the booth on June 28th? What is the process of reserving a booth? Can you show the link, please?
Yeah, so you received a Zoom link in an email. And if you did not receive that, let's see, shoot an email to exhibits@bakingexpo.com and we can resend that. But how it's going to work is on your designated date, at your designated time, you're just going to click on the Zoom link that we sent to you, and it'll put you in a waiting room until show management is able to assist you. And once we're ready for you, we'll bring you into the Zoom room, and that way we can work face to face. We can share our screens. We can point out anything on the floor plan or answer any questions. And then once you let us know what booth space that you would like, we'll go ahead and get it rented for you in real time. It only takes a few seconds to update. So once you refresh, you'll be able to see your company name on the floor plan. And then that's all you need to do. Once you're on the floor plan, you are good to go. So it's all going to be done through Zoom this year.
Okay, next question. Does Freeman have a forward warehouse to ship to ahead of time?
They will. We don't have the address or receiving dates yet, but know that there will be an advanced warehouse.
And just addition to that, it's generally 30 days prior to the first day of move-in. If you're looking at kind of around those dates, that's generally what the time frame is to ship to the advanced warehouse. The next question, will this webinar be available to review again later?
Yes, it is being recorded and it'll be added under for exhibitors and then exhibitor resources and webinars on the Baking Expo website.
Okay, a few more questions here. Is the West Hall the only hall with food available for purchase? Sam, are you still on? Okay, Sam may be on mute. I'll see if she'll jump in here in a second, but we should have F&B, food and beverage, in both North and West. We will email you, the person who inquired about the question, we will email you to confirm. Can you print or download the IBIE 2022 priority points ranking?
You cannot print it and you cannot download it. It's only available to view on the website.
Okay, I think we're running into the last few questions here.
Right.
If we choose the West Hall, will the booths be oriented to face the entrances like the Sosslin booth in the floor plan now? I just want to tell my booth builder about orientation.
It's all going to be oriented like a normal, it's not going to be anything that's like atypical. It'll be oriented correctly, just like the Sosslin booth. It's just to show on that floor plan. It doesn't show it oriented exactly how the two halls are actually connected. But as far as selecting booth space, that is going to be how it's oriented and how attendees will walk up and down the aisles.
Okay, so another person is asking, can you describe again how exhibitors are supposed to select the booth? What is the time? So Jen, can you just go through exhibitors receiving their email for confirmations?
Yeah, so you should have received an email on June 14th with your call-in date and time and the link to the Zoom that you click on at that date and time to chat with us to select your booth space. So if you did not receive that, please reach out to us. We'll resend it to you. Once you get into the Zoom room, we will, let's see, I'm going to pull up a floor plan so I can show you an example. So once I'm in the Zoom room, I'll be working with either Stuart or Nicole, who are IBIE sales managers. And let's say I'm looking for a 20 by 20 island booth space. And I want 2601, 2603, 2702, and 2700. Let's think that I already had that in mind before getting on the Zoom meeting and it was still available when I got in, so we're good to go. So I just let Stuart and Nicole know that these are the 4 booths that I would like to create my 20 by 20, They'll say, great, we'll get those rented on the floor plan, we'll delete these, and then we add your company name to the booth. So it's gonna look very similar to like Sosslin Publishing once we're get that rented on the floor plan. So we'll work with you in real time, we'll get it updated, we'll have you refresh your page so you can take a look to make sure everything looks good, and it's all just gonna be done over Zoom.
Okay, so we're up on time, but I did want to just mention one of the questions was asking if this webinar is recorded, and yes, it will be posted on bakingexpo.com for exhibitors and then exhibitor resources /webinars. So we will have it posted there in a day or so to answer your questions so that you and your team can go back and review the information as well as the other webinars that we've completed as well. So thank you guys so much for joining. And then we'll also, if we were not able to get to your questions, we still have a list here of a few that were last at the end. We will send you guys an email.
Great, thank you all for joining today, and we look forward to seeing you over Zoom.